a little bit about kind of some of the new innovations that we've been rolling out at QuestionPro, specifically around AI, around audience, around panels, and a whole bunch more that we've been working on at QuestionPro. But we will show you some things that are available in all of the licenses, including the free licenses, so you can pop in there and use it, later today or tomorrow, whenever you feel like you want to get into it. But first off, we're going to continue the story around AI. So the first kind of place where we started to integrate AI with QuestionPro was around data quality. Using AI to actually understand, are we getting the right response back from folks? So when they do put in open-ended text and comments, does that seem legit? Have they used a bot or an AI to actually create that open-ended response? And we can flag that for you. That was kind of our first testing the waters on AI. But the real big one that we've come out with is what we call QxBot, and you're kind of seeing here on the screen where the AI can actually create the survey for you. And this is where we've seen pretty interesting use cases like we've been talking about here, right? Can AI kind of manage the community? Well, it can come up with those questions for you, right? So if you're having trouble kind of coming up with some questions to engage people with, you can use the AI to make that happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask everybody in here to think about a survey topic that they want to see the AI generate while I kind of go through this exercise. What we're going to do is just create a new survey. I'm just going to call this XDay Demo and go ahead and create a survey. So this is the process that you would have all seen, kind of the natural survey creation process. It does look like the internet's going a little slow. But you can see here, you can come in and kind of manually add questions and do kind of the standard building process of a survey. But now we've got this new little link here called Build with QxBot. So give me a prompt. What do we want to see a survey about? Who's got a good idea?
Should we post-holiday feedback?
Post-holiday feedback? Okay. All right, let's run with it. So let's go in and say, give me a survey to understand what people like to do on holiday. All right, build survey. This will take a minute. Got to go into the world of AI and kind of come up with some ideas and brainstorm things. Hopefully this will work. There we go. All right, so we got some stuff coming back here. So we got, what do you like to do on your holiday? So you can see, obviously it's smart enough not only to come up with the question, but also start coming up with some of the answer options there. Go to the beach, go sightseeing, go shopping, eat out, stay at home. Okay, that's an interesting thing to do when you're on holiday. Which of the activities do you prefer? So you can see it's giving you like an interesting kind of choice between single select, multi-select, open ends, and just kind of giving you the opportunity to be creative, right? Start brainstorming with this process. So what I can do here is I can kind of say, okay, add all 10 questions, and now I can come in here and start to edit this, right? So I say, you know what? Staying at home is probably not the best answer option for this. Okay, cool, I can bulk edit that. I can come in, I can delete that, I can switch that around. But you can see here, if I was just kind of dipping my toe in the water on, hey, what do people think about going on holidays? What do people like to do on holidays? This is giving me a pretty good start in 3 minutes. And hopefully Chat-GPT is not too mad at me for not saying please. So that's kind of the first thing that you can do. Again, you can log into QuestionPro straight away today. You can access that in all the licenses, including the free license, and give that a play, see what you come up with. I have one story. My partner, she got one of those emails that you tend to get late at night from your colleagues. Hey, we need a survey to understand how people feel about a certain type of hair type. And she was like, this is not my job. I don't want to do this, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, check this out. Boom, 5 minutes later, she had the survey. She sent it to her colleagues. They're like, this is amazing. We would have never thought to ask these questions in this way. Open-ended question. When you look in the mirror and you see yourself in your hair, how do you feel, right? Something like that to just kind of get people going, get the conversation started. It can get you pretty far. And this is like really good when we come back to the community angle, right? Because, a lot of times as researchers, we're really hyper-focused on like overthinking it. And for the real kind of hardcore research, you want to put a lot of thought into that survey design and what the outcome is going to be. But when you think about keeping a community active, right, and just keeping people engaged and seeing what ideas they come up with, this is a really, really good way to do that. And this almost kind of bridges that gap between, the AI managing your community and then you also kind of getting in there and giving ideas and seeing what comes back. So this is something, again, that you can use right away and start to play around with it in QuestionPro. So while I load up the next one, does anybody have any questions about QxBot?
What are your developments on that? So that's a really good starting point. But what's the next iteration? What's the next?
So after QxBot, we'll talk about that a little bit. One of the things that we're doing, so we're kind of thinking about what are all the different ways that you can use AI in the research process itself? So the first thing we talked about was data quality. We didn't really show a demo of that, but you can kind of imagine, AI kind of sussing that out for you. We did the XDay demo, so we talked about kind of how you use AI to actually write the survey for you, come up with ideas, kind of come up with some question types and some answer options. The next thing that we're going to show you is talking about how do we actually analyze open-ended text. That's something that a lot of researchers spend a ton of time on at the end of the day, and we're trying to kind of cut that process down, right? I think for quant researchers especially, we don't like to put open-ended questions into our surveys because it means somebody's got to read all of those answers and figure out what to do with them. And so in this survey, what I'm going to show you is how we can use Discover, kind of a new beta feature, to actually start to categorize those, run sentiment analysis, and kind of give you an ability to cut down maybe 1,000 comments or 3,000 comments to some that you might find more interesting and do some analysis on. So we're going to come into here. We've got this survey already ready. And what you'll do when you come to the analytics page is you can just come down here to text analysis, and you'll see this kind of new Discover tab. Currently in beta, we're still kind of working through these things, but again, it's available in all the licenses for you to play around with. So in this survey, what we did is we kind of have taken the theme, that's been bubbling around the UK for the last few months, and decided to ask about the monarchy and what people thought about the monarchy, and went straight to the open end, right? And just kind of said, hey, what are your thoughts on the monarchy's role and relevance in modern day United Kingdom society, considering the recent coronation? So obviously, something that we've been hearing a lot about. I think you guys maybe have seen some of the news and the interviews, and you see quite polarized opinions on this at the end of the day. And what you can see here is out of all of these open-ended responses, you're starting to actually see the sentiment coming back, right? So you can see, actually, this is roughly split 50-50 positive sentiment versus negative sentiment when you actually look at the overall population. But when you break it down, you actually start to see a much different story, right? It tells you a different picture. Now, we don't have any data for 17 years or younger, right? We screen those folks out. But you can see, hey, that 18 to 34-year-old group is pretty negative on the monarchy. And as you get into kind of the older groups, you get more positive sentiment coming back, right? So that already starts to tell us something without having to read through 300 comments and kind of go into all those open-endeds. Now I can come in here and kind of say, okay, well, what's going on with the younger population? So now I'm easily able to kind of drill in and dive in and say, okay, what do we see with the younger folks? Well, they don't have much relevance to younger folks. Why are we spending so much money on the monarchy and the coronation, especially when we've got the cost of living crisis going on? But then we can start to see, okay, well, what are some of the positive comments that are coming in from maybe some of the older generations? Well, they lead the nation and they show the best of English society, right? So you're starting to see these interesting viewpoints coming back. And again, in 5 minutes, I'm able to kind of dissect instead of reading through 300 open-ended comments. I can go further too, right? I can start to go in and see what my categories are, right? What are my sentiment scores amongst my different age groups? And it's actually giving me different categories that I can look at. And you can see, right, okay, we knew that our older age groups are a little bit more positive. And you can see that, right? They are realizing, actually, the monarchy is bringing a lot of tourism money in, right? They're bringing a lot of people to the UK, and we can kind of dig in on that and say, all right, hey, they're a tourist attraction, right? It gives me something to kind of glean into a little bit. So give this a try. Definitely play around with it. I think one of the nice things about this is it gives you a reason to maybe just throw one open-ended question at the end of your survey. Right now, you might just get something back that helps explain your quant data or give you a different lens on that quant data just because you're able to get this categorization, start to see the sentiment, and drill in certain places. And obviously, if you're doing more qual types of surveys, this will be really powerful to help you kind of go through all that open-ended text and get smarter insights from it. So that's kind of number 2 in terms of what we're doing with AI. So we talked about text analysis, discover, sentiment analysis. This is kind of, I think, our next big step with AI is actually just automating the analysis itself. So having the AI build out your dashboards, come up with your widgets, and then really tell you what's insightful about the data that you're getting back. Oh, there's a much higher percentage with this audience versus that audience. Highlight those things for you so you don't have to kind of go through the data all on your own. That's kind of where we're at with AI. That's what's coming. That's what's out. Again, both of those live demos you can go home and play with tonight. The other thing that we're just going to spend a little bit of time on is audience. So we've been talking about building your own panel. Many of you may not know that QuestionPro also has a panel of 22 million people around the world that you can tap into. So if you do ever need respondents to your surveys, we can help you get those. If you need to recruit them into your community, we can help with that as well. But the new stuff that we've been working on is self-serve audience. So actually being able to go into QuestionPro, you can do this today, go in, create a project, choose which population you want, and kick that off on your own. So if you are looking for a specialized audience, you need our help, we do kind of manage that for you, but you can also go in there and do it on your own. And we do have all the data quality tools in here, so we have kind of negotiated with our partners to make sure that you can, get bad responses replaced. You can turn on flags for people who are speeding through your survey, kick them out immediately, do attention checks in your survey, and make sure that doesn't impact your incidence rate. Other place that we're going with the larger kind of audience panel is instant answers. So this is kind of the other topic that we've been talking about, right? This ability to be agile and kind of ask people instantly, what do they think about a real-time topic, right? You're getting those questions from your stakeholders. You don't always want to run a big research project. Maybe you're walking into a meeting and you just need to kind of have some data to help people understand what people think, where they're heading. Instant answers gives you a really good way to do that. So this is actually currently a Slack integration where you can just go in, write your question, pick where they are, how many people you want to ask, and in 20 minutes you kind of get your data back. And we're also building it into the self-service platform so you can do that through the UI on its own. So to give you a little bit of an example, we ran one earlier today, not to bring politics into the conversation, but there's always some news out there that we can kind of show off the real-time ability of instant answers. So you can see here, we asked this question, the Commons Privileges Committee report into Boris Johnson has now been published. Do you think he misled Parliament? And you can see there that this came in earlier today, right? 15th of June, 300 people responded. And you can see there, that's a good percentage kind of saying, yes, the evidence seems clear, and definitely he's a proven pathological liar. Now we've got 3% saying definitely not. There's agenda against him. No, there's no evidence, no clear evidence, and a good portion that kind of says not sure, right? Maybe no opinion. So a good way, again, to be super agile and just understand what are people thinking about there around real-time news, or even just understanding okay, I want to go and put together a bigger survey around this. Let me at least get a gut check on where people stand, right? What are the deeper questions that I should be asking? So if I know that most people are in this category, now maybe my real survey is going to go deeper and really try to understand what it is about these two categories that make people tick. So some cool stuff there to play around with.
That was just run today?
Yeah, this was earlier today. That's it. Exactly. So get your real-time insights.
What's the margin of error on 300 respondents?
Who's a statistician in the room? Anybody? Yeah, right? 5-7%. I mean, typically you're going to get pretty good statistical significance on a group of 300, and this is a Gen Pop UK population. So that's kind of what it works on is Gen Pop, right, for each of the different countries.
If it's run through Slack, how do you get like this is a NatRep, like roughly?
Correct. Gen Pop, exactly.
So how do you get that through Slack? Or how is it?
No, so it's just the interface is Slack. So you go in and you can kind of just put in Slack, like /QuestionPro, it'll bring up this dialogue, and then you'll get your chart back in Slack. But we're going out to the panels, we're asking that question. And again, we're gonna build it right into the web interface as well if you don't have Slack. Cool. Listen, there's a lot more to talk about with QuestionPro. We're not going to go into everything, but there is a big platform behind this. We've got all sorts of new products, live polls for doing live events, kind of quizzing people, gamifying an event. We've got the offline app if you're kind of going in and doing in-person interviews, a big CX platform for generating customer experience. We've got the same thing on the workforce and employee engagement side. We've been talking a lot about communities. We've got new products around qualitative, InsightsHub, knowledge management. So do reach out if you've got any questions. We can really help you in a lot of different ways. But we'll leave it there. So do, again, reach out to anybody. And before we end here, let me just give a shout out to the QuestionPro team. Usman obviously has done a great job in kind of producing this event. But everybody else, I want you to just stand up so people can know who you are. We've got Matt over here. We've got Kirk over here. Oku and Elena in the back. So give a round of applause for these folks for being a great team.